The human princess walked into war, and the galaxy held its breath. The wind carried a chill, but it could not reach her resolve. She had always known that being a princess was more than wearing gowns and attending ceremonies. In the quiet moments before dawn, she often trained with the palace guards, learning tactics, drills, and combat techniques that had been passed down through generations of human leaders. Today, she felt the weight of the galaxy pressing against her shoulders. The Terran Alliance had maintained a fragile peace for decades. Other civilizations in the galaxy, some older, some far more technologically advanced, often looked at humanity as weak, as insignificant. Humans were unpredictable, yes, and stubborn, but few had ever truly understood the depth of human resilience. Alara had studied every known alien culture, every threat, every weakness. She knew that the coming days would test not just the Alliance, but all of humanity. A sudden alarm echoed through the palace corridors, sharp and urgent. Alara turned to see her aide, Captain Rillan, hurrying toward her, data pad in hand. "Your Highness," he said, his voice taut with worry. "Arctura has come under attack. The borders have been breached." "We're still gathering full reports, but the initial scans indicate a fleet of unknown vessels. They're fast, aggressive, and heavily armed. Civilian casualties are high. The planetary defense system is struggling to hold them off." Alara's heart tightened, but she did not panic. "Assemble the strike team," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I will go to Arctura myself." Rillan looked shocked. "Your Highness, the human fleet is stretched thin. You cannot—" "I am not going to wait for permission," she interrupted. "I am a leader of humans. If our people suffer while I remain here, then my title means nothing. Prepare my starship. I leave in 20 minutes. Within moments, the royal hangar was a flurry of activity. Engineers, soldiers, and pilots moved with precision, anticipating her orders. Alara stepped into her armor, a sleek, flexible suit designed for combat and mobility. She felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle around her shoulders, heavier than any physical armor but stronger than fear. Her starship, the Aurora's Edge, stood ready. It was a nimble craft, equipped with cutting-edge human technology, stealth systems, and weapons optimized for precision strikes. Alara had personally overseen its design, insisting that it reflect the ingenuity and adaptability of humanity. As she entered the cockpit, the hum of the engines resonated through her chest. She gripped the controls, feeling the familiar connection between pilot and vessel. The journey to Arctura was tense. Every sensor scan revealed nothing but the empty darkness of space, punctuated by the distant flashes of alien weapons. Alara's mind raced through strategies, anticipating every move the enemy might make. Unlike humans, many alien species relied heavily on rigid tactics and overwhelming force. Alara knew that the key to survival and victory was unpredictability. When the Arcturan system finally came into view, the scene that greeted her was chaos. Orbital defense stations were ablaze, their energy shields flickering under sustained fire. Civilians were fleeing in small escape pods, weaving through the deadly dance of laser beams and plasma fire. Alien ships moved with ruthless precision, cutting through the human defenses like a blade through cloth. Alara took a deep breath. She had trained for this moment all her life. "Target their command ship," she ordered, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the battlefield. "If we take out their leadership, the rest will falter." Her strike team, a small group of elite pilots and soldiers who had sworn loyalty to her, moved into formation around her ship. Each member trusted her implicitly, knowing that she had led them through countless drills and simulations that mimicked the exact conditions they now faced. The first engagement was brutal. Alien fire struck the Aurora's Edge, shaking the ship violently. Warning lights flashed, systems flickered, but Alara maintained control, weaving through enemy formations with a grace that belied the danger. Her team executed coordinated maneuvers, striking at weak points the aliens had never anticipated. They moved as one, a single organism of strategy and precision. Alara's mind raced. She calculated trajectories, predicted enemy movements, and issued orders with split-second timing. A drone strike from above threatened to break their formation, but Alara anticipated the attack, drawing the enemy into a trap. A sudden pulse from the ship's new magnetic disruptor disabled the alien drones, sending them spiraling into space. "Nice work," she said quietly, allowing herself a brief moment of satisfaction. "Now focus on the command ship." They approached the alien flagship cautiously. Its hull was enormous, bristling with weapons and shields that shimmered like liquid metal. Alara studied it, searching for vulnerabilities. She noticed patterns in its attacks, slight delays in its targeting systems, flaws that no alien commander would consider a threat from a species they deemed inferior. "Prepare the ion torpedoes," she ordered. "We hit the shield generators simultaneously from 3 angles. Timing is everything." The strike team moved into position, holding their breath as Alara initiated the attack. The torpedoes launched, streaking through space with silent precision. Explosions rippled across the alien flagship's surface, sending waves of energy that disrupted its shields. Alien ships reeled in confusion, their formation collapsing. Alara seized the moment. She dove into the heart of the enemy fleet, dodging fire and striking where the aliens least expected. She could feel the adrenaline surging through her veins, not fear, but a focused clarity. Every maneuver, every shot, every decision showcased the unique strength of humanity: intelligence, courage, and an instinct for survival. By the time the flagship began to retreat, the humans had turned the tide of the skirmish. Casualties were still high, but the enemy's morale had been shaken. The small victory was proof that even against superior forces, human determination could change the course of events. After the battle, Alara contacted the Terran Alliance Command. "Arctura is safe for now," she reported, her voice calm and commanding. "But this is only the beginning. The galaxy has misjudged humanity, and we will show them what it means to underestimate us." As the Aurora's edge jumped to hyperspace, Alara allowed herself a moment to reflect. She knew that the coming war would demand more than courage. It would require strategy, resilience, and the very best of human nature. Yet even in the face of uncertainty, she felt a spark of hope. Humans had survived against impossible odds before, and they would survive again. Back on Solera Prime, news of her daring actions spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, messages poured in, some from allies expressing admiration, others from observers in rival civilizations, watching the human princess who had walked into war as if it were her birthright. There was a sense of awe, even fear, in the way they spoke of her. Humanity was no longer a passive player in the galaxy. Under Alara's leadership, they had become a force to be reckoned with. Alara did not celebrate. There was no time for triumph. She turned her gaze to the stars, imagining the battles yet to come. Somewhere out there, the true enemy was watching, calculating, and preparing. She would need every ounce of strength, every skill, and every ally to face what lay ahead. But for the first time, she felt the galaxy noticing humanity, not as a weak, chaotic species, but as one capable of courage, ingenuity, and defiance. In the quiet of her ship, surrounded by blinking consoles and the soft hum of the engines, Alara whispered to herself, a promise more than a thought. "We will not bow, we will not falter. The galaxy will see what humans are truly capable of." As the stars stretched into streaks of light in hyperspace, Alara's mind sharpened. Each calculation, each possibility, each strategy unfolded with clarity. She reviewed the battle, learning from every move, anticipating the next wave of attacks. Humanity's story was just beginning, and she was determined that it would be a story of strength, survival, and the indomitable spirit that had carried her species through countless trials. No one would underestimate humans again. Princess Alara returned to Solera Prime to a reception far different from the peaceful ceremonies she had known. The palace was tense, buzzing with officials, military officers, and diplomats from across the Terran Alliance. Some greeted her with admiration, others with thinly veiled worry. Humanity had shown strength at Arctura, but the galaxy was vast, and their enemies were far from defeated. Alara stepped out of her ship, the polished floor of the royal hangar reflecting her determined stance. She had no illusions about the gravity of her position. Being a princess did not make her invincible. It gave her the authority to act, and act she would. Her first meeting was with the Supreme Council of the Terran Alliance, the political body that controlled human defense strategies and interstellar diplomacy. "Your Highness," said Councillor Verk, his thin face pale with concern. The Arctura engagement was impressive, but it was only one encounter. We have intelligence that the alien fleet is larger than any one human fleet can handle. Even with your strategy, we cannot fight them all. Diplomacy may be our only path forward. Alara met his gaze steadily. Diplomacy is for those who can wait while their people die. We have no time. We must show the galaxy that humans are not pawns to be pushed aside. We can adapt. We can overcome. And we will fight where necessary. Some council members exchanged uneasy glances. Humans were known for stubbornness, but this was something else. Boldness, a confidence that came from experience and instinct rather than politics. Ilara had seen battles, not just maps and reports. She understood that leadership required risk, and sometimes the right risk could change the tide of war. She convened her closest advisors in a smaller chamber, away from the prying eyes of the council. Among them were Captain Rillan, Lieutenant Mara, the intelligence officer Keth, and a young engineer named Joran. Each had proven their loyalty and skill in battle, and each trusted Ilara's judgment implicitly. "We need to understand our enemy," Ilara said, pacing the room. "They rely on overwhelming firepower, precision, and technology far superior to ours. But humans have something no other species does: flexibility, intuition, and the ability to improvise. We can use their strength against them." Keth leaned forward, scanning the data hollows. "We've analyzed their fleet movements and weapon patterns. They anticipate direct attacks, but they fail when faced with unconventional tactics. Their command structure is rigid. They punish failure severely, which makes them predictable in their own way." Ilara nodded. "Then we strike unpredictably. We attack where they do not expect it, retreat when necessary, and exploit every flaw we discover. Our people are our greatest weapon, and they must know that their instincts and courage matter as much as any technology." Lieutenant Mara smiled faintly. "You mean the humans have always been underestimated and we're going to make them pay for it?" "Exactly," Ilara replied. "And it begins now. We cannot wait for the enemy to come to us. We must take the fight to them before they consolidate their power. I want small, rapid strikes. Hit, retreat, and strike again. We need to make them question every decision they make." Preparations began immediately. Ilara oversaw the retrofitting of the human fleet, insisting on modular systems, versatile weapons, and unconventional tactics. She trained pilots in unorthodox maneuvers, encouraging them to rely on instinct and creativity, not just protocol. She worked late into the nights, reviewing battle simulations, making adjustments, and planning every detail. Finally, the first human offensive operation began. A fleet of 50 ships, far smaller than the alien armada they intended to challenge, approached the Zoran sector, a strategic hub recently occupied by the enemy. The fleet's sensors detected dozens of alien vessels guarding the sector, their formations tight and disciplined. Ilara addressed her commanders through the comm system. "Remember your training. The enemy expects us to attack head-on. We will divide, distract, and outmaneuver. Watch each other's backs. Trust your instincts." The fleet split into multiple squadrons, moving with deceptive speed. One squadron feigned a direct assault, drawing enemy fire, while another approached from a hidden vector. Ilara's ship, the Aurora's Edge, led the most daring maneuver, weaving between asteroids, using the terrain of space itself to shield them from detection. The alien forces reacted predictably, falling for the bait. Ilara's strategy worked perfectly. The human squadron emerged from the asteroid belt behind the enemy line, striking at their supply ships and shield generators. Explosions lit the darkness of space, and the enemy ships scrambled to respond. Despite the chaos, human pilots maintained cohesion. They adapted to unexpected attacks, repairing minor damage in flight and coordinating their strikes with silent signals and instinctive timing. Ilara watched it all, heart racing with pride. Humans had turned a desperate gamble into a decisive blow. The alien command ship, the same type they had faced at Arctura, appeared, attempting to regain control of the situation. Ilara calculated the distance, speed, and firing patterns. She initiated a daring plan. Instead of engaging directly, she used electronic countermeasures to create false targets, confusing the enemy sensors. Then she led a squadron straight into the heart of the alien formation, hitting critical points before vanishing into a cloud of asteroids. The alien fleet faltered. They had never encountered an enemy that moved like this, that thought differently, that adapted faster than their weapons could track. The humans retreated after minimal losses, leaving the aliens in disarray. After the operation, Ilara received reports from minor alien factions observing the battle. Some sent messages of cautious respect. Others, previously neutral or hostile, began to reconsider alliances. Humanity's reputation was growing, and Alara knew that this perception mattered as much as the battles themselves. Back on Solara Prime, Alara did not allow herself celebration. She convened her advisors immediately. "We have won a small victory, but the war is far from over. The alien fleet will regroup. They will expect us to continue predictable patterns, but we must change, evolve, and strike where they least expect it." Keth frowned. "Your strategy is bold, Your Highness. Some council members may call it reckless. If the aliens recover faster than we anticipate, we could lose everything." Alara's eyes hardened. "Then we adapt faster than they do. We learn from every move they make and turn it into advantage. Humanity thrives under pressure. We are resourceful, resilient, and unyielding. That is what no one else in the galaxy can match." Days turned into weeks. Human forces continued small-scale operations, disrupting alien supply lines, ambushing patrols, and gathering intelligence. Every encounter tested the limits of human courage and ingenuity. Alara worked tirelessly, often joining pilots on missions, observing the battlefield firsthand. Her presence inspired her people. Even in the face of overwhelming numbers, humans did not retreat or falter. During one mission, Alara's ship intercepted an alien scouting party attempting to infiltrate Solara Prime's orbit. Instead of destroying them outright, she maneuvered her ship to disable their engines and capture their crew. She demanded information, but she also treated the aliens with respect, offering safety in exchange for cooperation. The lesson was clear. Humans could fight fiercely, but they could also act with intelligence and diplomacy when it mattered. The captured aliens provided valuable insight. Their reports revealed weaknesses in their communication systems, inefficiencies in command chains, and overconfidence in their technological superiority. Alara studied the data, creating simulations for future operations. Every victory, every setback, every observation was a lesson to be used in the larger war. Yet the war was not without personal cost. During a reconnaissance mission, a close friend and mentor, Commander Terran, was lost in battle. Alara felt the sting of grief, but refused to let it paralyze her. She addressed the human fleet, speaking not just of strategy, but of courage, resilience, and the value of every life. Her words resonated deeply, reminding humans why they fought, not just for survival, but for the preservation of hope, ingenuity, and freedom. The galaxy was watching. Messages from distant systems circulated, spreading tales of the human princess who led her people with courage, intellect, and empathy. Alien societies that once dismissed humans as insignificant began to reconsider their assumptions. Humanity was no longer passive, no longer predictable, no longer underestimated. Alara knew that larger battles awaited. The alien armada at the edge of Solara Prime's system had not disappeared. It was regrouping, waiting for the right moment to strike again. But the humans had already demonstrated their unique strength. They were unpredictable, adaptable, and willing to fight not only with weapons, but with their minds, instincts, and courage. She spent hours in the command room, planning the next wave of operations. Every move had to be precise, yet flexible. Every risk had to be calculated, yet bold. She reviewed simulations with her advisors, testing different scenarios, anticipating enemy strategies, and preparing for contingencies. Her determination never wavered. Humans had survived countless challenges on Earth and in the stars, and they would survive this war too. Alara felt a quiet pride in their resilience. They had been underestimated, but now the galaxy was beginning to understand the truth. Humans were not weak, humans were not foolish, and humans would not bow to fear or oppression. As night fell over Solara Prime, Alara stood once more on the palace balcony. The city below was quiet, but the stars above shone with infinite possibilities. She allowed herself a small moment of reflection, thinking of the battles won and those yet to come. The human fleet would strike again, and each operation would reveal more of humanity's ingenuity and courage. The galaxy might have doubted them before, but that doubt was fading. Humans were rising, and under Alara's leadership they would continue to rise. She turned from the balcony with resolve. The war was far from over, but the first steps had been taken. Humanity's story in this galaxy would not be one of submission. It would be one of defiance, brilliance, and unyielding spirit. Alara's message was clear to all who watched, human and alien alike. Humanity had awakened, and they would not be ignored. The alien armada had regrouped at the edge of human-controlled space, and the tension across the Terran alliance was palpable. Princess Alara stood on the bridge of the Aurora's edge, gazing at the holographic display of the enemy fleet. Hundreds of massive ships, bristling with weapons and energy shields, filled the sector. Their movements were calculated, precise, but something about their formation betrayed overconfidence. Alara's instincts told her that no matter their technology, no matter their numbers, humans had a quality no alien fleet could match: unpredictability. "Your Highness," Captain Rillan said, standing beside her, "the fleet is ready, but the numbers are overwhelming. Even with our tactics, this could be our toughest engagement yet." Alara nodded, her expression calm. "Numbers do not win battles. Courage, intelligence, and unity do. Humans are not easily predicted. That is our advantage. Prepare the fleet. We strike at dawn." The Terran fleet assembled quietly, a diverse array of ships, fast attack vessels, heavy cruisers, reconnaissance scouts, and Alara's own flagship. Each ship had been optimized for agility and flexibility rather than sheer firepower. Humans had learned from previous skirmishes that speed, strategy, and creativity often mattered more than raw strength. As the first light of the system's twin suns spread across space, the fleet moved out. Sensors detected the alien forces immediately, and alarms blared across human ships. The enemy opened fire, energy blasts slicing through the darkness. But the humans did not panic. Every ship executed maneuvers they had practiced countless times, weaving through fire, striking at vulnerable points, and retreating before the enemy could respond effectively. Alara directed her flagship with precision. She identified weak points in the alien formation and sent squads to exploit them. One squadron feigned a direct assault, drawing enemy fire and distracting their attention. Another squadron, including her own ship, moved unseen through asteroid fields, using the terrain as cover. Humans were no longer reactive. They were dictating the flow of battle. Suddenly, an alien destroyer broke formation and charged toward a human colony world nearby. Alara calculated the distance, the speed, and the firing patterns of its weapons. "Intercept," she commanded. "We cannot allow them to reach civilians." Her squadron engaged the destroyer in a daring maneuver, weaving through its attacks and striking at weak points in its shields. Explosions rippled across the ship, but the human pilots pressed on, relentless in their focus. Finally, the destroyer's engines failed, sending it drifting uselessly into space. Civilians on the colony world were saved, and the human fleet gained an important morale boost. The battle raged for hours. Alara coordinated strikes, adapted to enemy movements, and encouraged her fleet to rely on instinct as much as orders. Human ingenuity shone in unexpected ways. Engineers repurposed disabled alien drones to act as decoys, confusing enemy targeting systems. Pilots used unconventional flight paths to bypass superior weaponry. Each victory, however small, reinforced the human spirit, yet not everything went smoothly. During a skirmish near a massive asteroid belt, a human cruiser was heavily damaged. Alara ordered a rescue operation, sending small craft into the enemy's line of fire. Lieutenant Mara led the team, skillfully dodging attacks and bringing the crew to safety. Her courage, like so many others, reminded everyone that human bravery was unmatched. Amid the chaos, Alara noticed an alien command vessel separating from the fleet, attempting to flank the human forces. She made a split-second decision, directing her ship toward the flanking vessel with only a small squadron in support. The enemy's surprise was complete. They did not expect the humans to pursue so aggressively. Alara exploited the opening, disabling their shields and crippling key systems. The alien ship was forced to retreat, its fleet temporarily disorganized. In the midst of battle, communication channels crackled with messages from minor alien factions. Some offered aid, while others threatened retaliation. Alara seized the opportunity. Through quick negotiation and display of human competence, she forged alliances with two previously neutral alien factions. They contributed reconnaissance ships and minor reinforcements, tipping the balance slightly in humanity's favor. This combination of diplomacy and battlefield skill was uniquely human. As the battle drew to a temporary halt, both fleets withdrew to regroup. Human losses were heavy but not catastrophic, while the alien forces had suffered unexpected damage. Alara called a council with her commanders, analyzing the battle and planning the next phase. "We have shown them that humans are not easily defeated," she said. "We have won today, but the war is far from over. The alien command will regroup, and they will come at us with greater force. We must anticipate their moves and continue to strike unpredictably." Keth, the intelligence officer, added, "Your Highness, the captured data from today's battle reveals that the alien fleet is reorganizing into multiple smaller squadrons. They will attempt to surround key human systems. Their strategy is fragmented, but it is dangerous if we cannot anticipate it." Alara considered the information carefully. "Then we must be faster, smarter, and more flexible. Humanity's strength is not in numbers, but in adaptability. We will divide our forces strategically, using decoys, traps, and rapid maneuvers to keep them off balance. Each engagement must make them question their superiority." While the humans regrouped, Alara took a rare moment to walk among her fleet's personnel. She moved through the corridors of her flagship, speaking with pilots, engineers, and soldiers. She listened to their fears, shared their hopes, and reminded them why they fought. Humans had endured countless threats across their history, from natural disasters to interstellar conflicts, and they had survived. Their resilience was unmatched, and Alara wanted every person to feel that strength within themselves. During the night, reports arrived from the battlefield. Civilians in previously occupied systems were beginning to rise in quiet resistance. Humans had inspired not only their own fleet, but also populations across the galaxy. Stories of the human princess leading her people, striking boldly against overwhelming odds, spread quickly. The ripple effect was profound. Even distant alien worlds began to reconsider their assumptions about humanity. Yet Alara knew the danger was far from gone. Intelligence indicated that the main alien command fleet was preparing for a decisive strike. The aliens had learned from previous engagements and would likely attempt to draw the humans into a trap. Alara spent hours studying maps, enemy patterns, and battle simulations, planning the humans' next move. Every scenario was considered, every contingency prepared. The next engagement came sooner than expected. An alien force attempted a direct assault on a human mining colony in the viral system. Alara led a rapid response fleet, arriving before the enemy could inflict irreparable damage. Using the same tactics that had proven effective, humans engaged with precision, disabling the alien vanguard and forcing them to retreat. Civilians cheered as human ships emerged victorious, and word of the operation spread throughout the galaxy. In the aftermath, Alara convened her advisors once more. "Every engagement strengthens humanity's position," she said. "We must continue to fight with intelligence, creativity, and courage. The galaxy is beginning to notice us, and every victory will cement our place as a force they cannot ignore." The princess also reflected on the human cost of war. Friends had fallen, ships had been destroyed, and systems had been damaged. Yet she refused to let grief paralyze her. Every loss was a reminder of what was at stake and a motivation to fight harder, smarter, and more boldly. Humanity's survival depended not on fear, but on resilience, unity, and courage. Alara also understood that perception mattered as much as strategy. The alien empires needed to recognize that humans could not be dominated easily. Through careful communication, the Terran Alliance broadcast their victories, emphasizing human ingenuity, bravery, and leadership. The galaxy watched in awe as humans adapted to threats, negotiated alliances, and struck with precision and purpose. The culmination of these efforts came during a pivotal battle near the Helios Rift, a treacherous region filled with asteroid fields, unstable gravity pockets, and dangerous radiation zones. The alien fleet attempted to use the rift to trap the human forces, expecting their superior numbers to overwhelm them. But Alara anticipated the trap. She divided her fleet into multiple squadrons, using the rift itself as cover. Humans emerged from unexpected angles, striking critical points and exploiting weaknesses that the aliens had overlooked. The battle was fierce, but the humans' adaptability and courage prevailed. Alien ships were destroyed or forced to retreat, and key systems were secured. The galaxy witnessed for the first time the full potential of human ingenuity in warfare. The message was clear. Humans were not passive, humans were not predictable, and humans would fight with every resource at their disposal. After the battle, Alara addressed her fleet. "We have shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of," she said. "But our work is not done. Every system we protect, every victory we claim sends a message. We will not be defeated. We will not bow. We will survive and we will thrive." As night fell across the Terran Alliance's territories, Alara stood on the bridge of her flagship, gazing at the stars. The galaxy had begun to see humans differently. Once dismissed as weak and chaotic, they were now recognized as courageous, intelligent, and formidable. But Alara knew that the war was far from over. The alien armada would regroup, and the stakes would rise even higher. Yet she felt a quiet satisfaction. Humanity had proven that even against overwhelming odds, they could fight with brilliance and bravery. They had forged alliances, inspired populations, and turned their perceived weaknesses into strengths. Under Alara's leadership, humans were no longer merely surviving. They were asserting themselves as a power the galaxy could not ignore. The stars stretched endlessly before her, each one a reminder of the challenges and opportunities yet to come. Alara knew that the next phase of the war would test humans like never before. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of pride. Humans had risen to the occasion, proving that courage, ingenuity, and unity could overcome even the most formidable adversaries. The galaxy was watching. Humanity had announced its presence, and under Princess Alara's guidance, it would continue to rise, one victory at a time. The alien armada had returned, larger and more disciplined than ever, surrounding human-controlled space with a presence meant to intimidate and overwhelm. Princess Alara stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Aurora's Edge, scanning the vast fleet through advanced sensors. Hundreds of alien warships, each bristling with weapons far superior to human designs, loomed in formation. But Alara's mind was calm, her focus sharp. She had studied every engagement, every weakness, every pattern, and now she knew how to turn the enemy's confidence against them. "Your Highness," Captain Rillan said, his voice tense but steady, "this is the largest fleet we've ever faced. Even with our alliances and tactics, the risk is immense. If they strike together, we could lose everything." Alara turned to him, her gaze unwavering. "Numbers alone do not decide battles, Captain. Courage, adaptability, and ingenuity do. Humans have faced impossible odds before. We will do so again. Prepare the fleet. We strike first." The Terran Alliance fleet, reinforced by their new alien allies, moved into formation. Ships of every size and type glimmered in the starlight, ready for the operation Alara had spent weeks planning. The strategy was bold. Rather than defend, they would attack, dividing the alien fleet and forcing them into confusion. It was a plan that required precision, trust, and absolute coordination. Humans were not invincible, but they were unpredictable, and unpredictability would be their weapon. As the fleets approached each other, Alara activated a series of electronic decoys. Fake ships and signals filled enemy sensors, creating multiple phantom targets. Alien commanders reacted immediately, redirecting fire toward the illusions while Alara's real squadrons maneuvered into concealed positions. She directed rapid strikes at supply lines, shield generators, and command ships, exploiting weaknesses the aliens had never considered. The battle erupted across multiple vectors simultaneously. Human squadrons darted between asteroids, through debris fields, and around moons to engage enemy vessels at unexpected angles. Small, agile ships struck first, disabling key weapons before retreating to safety. The aliens, used to overwhelming force and predictable tactics, found themselves reacting constantly, never controlling the flow of the fight. Alara led her flagship into the heart of the alien formation, moving with daring precision. She coordinated with Lieutenant Mara and Captain Rillan, issuing commands that relied not only on technology but also on human instinct. They struck simultaneously at the enemy command chain, creating chaos and confusion. Alien ships collided or fired blindly, their coordination breaking down under the humans' unpredictable assault. Amid the chaos, a group of human engineers repurposed captured alien drones mid-battle. The drones, once deadly enemies, now acted as allies, sending false signals, jamming targeting systems, and even ramming key enemy ships. Alara's ability to adapt and innovate in the heat of battle showcased the hallmark of humanity, resourcefulness under pressure. The fight was brutal. Explosions lit up space and warning sirens rang across every human vessel. But even as ships were damaged and lives were lost, morale remained high. Every human pilot, every crew member fought with determination, driven not by fear, but by the knowledge that their ingenuity and courage could turn the tide. In the midst of the battle, Alara spotted the alien flagship, the heart of the enemy's command. It was massive, its hull glowing with energy weapons and shield generators. Taking it down would be dangerous, but it was necessary. She calculated the timing of the enemy's firing patterns, their blind spots, and the optimal paths for attack. "We strike now," she commanded. "All units focus on the flagship. Precision, speed, and coordination are everything." The humans moved as one. Squadrons weaved through the battlefield, dodging enemy fire and striking critical systems. Explosions tore through the flagship's shields, and small fighter teams infiltrated its hull, sabotaging internal systems. Alien crews scrambled, unable to anticipate the unpredictable attacks. The flagship faltered, its command compromised, and the rest of the alien armada began to retreat, unsure of where to strike or how to regroup. During the battle, Alara received a distress signal from one of the minor allied alien fleets. They were under heavy fire, overwhelmed by enemy reinforcements. Without hesitation, she redirected a squadron to provide support. Humans had proven themselves as not just fearless warriors, but also as allies who could act with speed and judgment. The reinforcements held, and the Allied ships survived, strengthening the growing coalition against the alien armada. Despite the victory, there was loss. Several human ships had been destroyed, and brave pilots who had fought valiantly would not return. Alara mourned privately, acknowledging their sacrifice while using it to strengthen the resolve of those still fighting. Every life mattered, and every victory was a testament to human courage. When the battle finally ended, the alien fleet retreated to regroup, leaving the humans in control of key sectors. The Terran Alliance had achieved a monumental triumph, and the galaxy took notice. Across distant systems, broadcasts detailed the skill, courage, and ingenuity of the human fleet. Stories spread of the princess who led from the front, who did not merely command, but inspired, strategized, and fought alongside her people. Humans were no longer underestimated. They had proven that even against impossible odds, they could prevail. Alara addressed her fleet after the battle. "Today, humanity has shown its true strength," she said, her voice carrying across every communication channel. "We fight not just with weapons, but with courage, intelligence, and unity. We are adaptable, relentless, and unstoppable when we work together. Remember the sacrifices of those who came before and the responsibility we carry for those who will follow. The galaxy has witnessed our resolve, and it will never be the same again." She then turned her attention to the future. Intelligence reports indicated that the aliens were regrouping, likely planning their next strike. But Alara saw opportunity in every challenge. They would exploit the enemy's overconfidence, continue to form alliances, and expand human influence across the galaxy. Humans had survived countless threats on their home planet, and now, under her leadership, they would thrive among the stars. In the days following the battle, Alara traveled between human-controlled systems and allied territories, reinforcing defenses, coordinating supply lines, and strengthening bonds. The humans' reputation continued to grow. Populations that once feared or ignored them now offered support, inspired by humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The galaxy had begun to recognize that humans were not only capable fighters, but also clever strategists, adaptable leaders, and courageous beings willing to stand for justice. Alara also focused on training the next generation of leaders. She established programs where human and allied youth could learn strategy, diplomacy, and combat skills. The message was clear. Humanity would continue to rise, not just through victories in battle, but through knowledge, preparation, and leadership. Humans had learned that survival depended not on luck, but on skill, adaptability, and unity. During one inspection, Alara walked among civilians who had returned to recently liberated worlds. Children ran through streets once empty, families rebuilt homes, and communities began to thrive again. She smiled quietly, recognizing the stakes of every battle. Humans fought not just for dominance, but to preserve life, freedom, and hope. That was the core of their strength, their willingness to fight for what mattered, no matter the odds. Yet Alara never underestimated the enemy. Even as humanity celebrated victories, she monitored alien movements closely. She anticipated that the Armada would strike again, perhaps in a place humans least expected. But this time, humanity would be ready. They had proven their ability to adapt, to innovate, and to fight with courage. They had turned fear into strategy, danger into opportunity, and doubt into determination. One night aboard the Aurora's edge, Alara gazed at the stars, the galaxy stretching endlessly before her. She thought of all the battles fought, the lives lost, the victories earned, and the alliances forged. Humanity had begun to carve its place in the cosmos, no longer as a minor species, but as a force that others could neither ignore nor predict. A message arrived from a distant allied planet. Its leaders expressed gratitude and admiration, not only for military victories but for the human spirit. Humanity had inspired hope, courage, and unity. Alara realized that this war was not only about survival, it was about showing the galaxy what humans were capable of. Intelligence, resilience, creativity, and compassion. Alara knew that true victory would require more than defeating fleets. It would require winning hearts, building trust, and proving that humanity could be a stabilizing force in the galaxy. She planned to continue diplomatic efforts alongside military operations, demonstrating that humans were capable of both courage and wisdom. The princess reflected on her own journey. From the palace balcony on Solara Prime to the front lines of galactic war, she had seen humanity at its best and its worst. She had witnessed courage in the face of danger, ingenuity under pressure, and unity in the most desperate moments. She had also seen loss and sacrifice, reminders that every victory came with cost. Yet she remained unwavering in her belief that humanity's greatest strength was its spirit. The galaxy had begun to recognize humans as more than survivors. They were leaders, innovators, warriors, and diplomats. Under Alara's guidance, humanity had transformed from an underestimated species into a symbol of hope and resilience. Every system liberated, every battle won, every alliance forged reinforced that reality. Alara took a deep breath, her gaze steady on the distant stars. The war was far from over, but humanity had proven it could rise to any challenge. The galaxy now held its breath, watching as humans carved their place among the stars. Princess Alara smiled faintly, knowing that no matter the trials ahead, humans would continue to fight, to lead, and to inspire. Their story was just beginning, and it would be one of courage, ingenuity, and unyielding spirit. As the Aurora's edge moved through space, leading the human fleet toward its next mission, Alara felt a quiet confidence. Humanity had survived the unimaginable, adapted to the impossible, and emerged stronger. The galaxy had witnessed their rise, and it would never be the same. For every threat, every challenge, and every battle ahead, humans would face it with courage, intelligence, and unity. They would endure, thrive, and inspire, leaving a mark on the stars that no one could ignore. And as the stars stretched into the infinite horizon, Princess Alara knew one undeniable truth. Humanity was not just fighting for survival. They were fighting to define their place in the galaxy, and they would do so with brilliance, courage, and heart. The galaxy had watched, and it would continue to watch. As humans walked boldly into the future they would shape with their own hands. The human princess walked into war, and the galaxy held its breath.